Hey guys, I wanted to give you a quick impressions video of my experience with the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge when compared to the iPhone 6 Plus, which was the phone that I switched to. I switched from the 6 Plus to a couple of phones and ended up here eventually because after a very short amount of time I realized how unwieldy a phone this large is and how unmanageable it is as a guy who doesn't use a fanny pack or anything to hold material besides my pockets. So I get really tired of it and wanted to find something different, but I absolutely love iOS. So I realized that I had to switch out of iOS in order to get something with the form factor that I was looking for. And I again ended up here, which I am very happy about doing. Before we talk any further about these phones, I want to tell you guys a little bit about the dimensions. This phone is 6.22 inches long, okay, and it's 3.02 inches wide. This guy is 5.9 inches long and 2.8 inches wide. All right, so it's a little bit shorter and a little bit thinner, okay, on the sides when we're looking at the width. The actual thickness of the phones are close, but the iPhone is a tad thinner at 0.28 inches, whereas the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge is 0.3. I don't give two shits about the thinness of phones anymore. I don't care at all. These phones are thin enough. They don't need to be any thinner. Apple's planning on getting rid of the lightning port. Oh no, the headphone jack to make it even more thin. That means nothing to me. What would matter more is a more ergonomic phone. And a thin phone isn't necessarily more ergonomic if it's still really tall and really wide. This phone hit the nail on the head and balances everything else out perfectly. It's the most comfortable phone I've ever used with a screen size of 5.5 inches. So if ergonomics are a huge factor for you, then you will not be disappointed getting this phone. If you want a phone that still has a large screen but is easy to use with one hand, you cannot beat this. In my experience, it cannot be done. So that's one thing I absolutely love. The main drawback with this phone that I've experienced so far is that it's slower than the iPhone 6, which is a year older and only has a quarter of the RAM that the S7 Edge has. This phone has 4 gigs of RAM and this one has 1. But the speed, especially with things like web browsing, is apparently much greater in most cases with the iPhone 6. And I can only suspect that that is because Apple has optimized their software in relation to the hardware to such a degree that the freer market style of Samsung, Android, and all the other designers like HTC, they just cannot keep up with that, and they can never hone it as much. If you go with the Nexus, you will get that home experience, and you can obviously root the phone, but there are some really cool software features that the Edge has, including the Edge features when you swipe your finger across, that are built into Samsung's UI. So I want to show you guys what I'm talking about with the speed. You guys can decide if that's a big enough deal for you. It bugs me. It bugs me that it's this much slower in some circumstances. We're going to start with CNN.com and an article from CNN. And I think CNN itself loads a little quicker, but I don't know how the articles go on the S7 Edge. So we're going to get going and see how this goes, and we're going to go to a few other websites in 3, 2, 1. Okay, definitely faster on the S7 Edge. May you rest in peace, sir. Let's try clicking an article about Prince. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that one's going to the iPhone. Most definitely going to the iPhone. Still loading right now on the Edge. Okay, still loading. Not finished yet. Okay. I think that's done. I don't know if it's going to load the tile for the image, but that's about it. All right. So I'm scrolling through here. What I do like about the S7 Edge and Chrome on Android is that you can go into accessibility features, and by default, the text is much bigger. So you can read much more easily. You don't have to use the reader mode, which is a great feature on iOS. But if you don't want to use it and you want to keep the other content, you can, and you'll be able to see it. Here, you have to do the pinch to zoom and then scroll back and forth, which is very annoying. This kind of wraps the text and keeps it enlarged. I really love that. What I don't like is the ads. It's much more it's much more easy to add an ad blocker on the iPhone 6 in my experience. I haven't figured out a way to block ads on this phone. I've blocked pop-ups on Google Chrome settings, and I've also clicked save data usage, but I don't think that's, getting rid of this kind of thing, which would be really nice because I think that may make the phone run a little bit faster. Okay, that finally loaded. All right, so you see it's a bit slower there. Let's go to another website and clear this out. Let's go to Fox News just to balance it out, because who doesn't love Fox News? That was a joke. Okay. FoxNews.com. All right. 1, 2, 3. That was ridiculously faster. Unbelievable. I don't get it. All right. Finally caught up. Okay. So that's Fox News. Let's try another website. Let's try IGN.com. Okay. IGN.com. 3, 2, 1. Oh my God, that was insane. I don't know how that happened. I guess I do. Just better software integration. Let's try IMDb. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right, that one seemed like it was the S7 Edge, but not by much. But I don't know. It seems like it could almost be a mixed bag of goods here. I'm not really sure. I definitely feel like this one edged it out a little bit. The experience of scrolling through the web pages, like I said, it's pretty good. I think that sometimes the ads make it a little bit laggy on the S7 Edge, but I don't think that's a problem at all. That's my biggest criticism of this phone thus far, is how the web pages load sometimes. I do feel like it's a little bit more sluggish. The other complaint I have with this phone is these capacitive keys. I shut the light off so you can't see them, but on the iPhone 6 Plus, when I was reading articles, it was really nice to have my fingers down here, and even if these bezels were half the size, it would still be totally functional and comfortable to read and keep your hands there so you don't feel like you're dropping the phone when you're lying on your back. All right. When you're using this phone, this is the challenge to a phone like this. You hit the capacitive keys and you can't really put your fingers up here when you're lying on your back, because then you start activating the edge features. So you're going to have to get really, really comfortable, like stacking your thumbs like this and then placing your fingers on the outermost edge of the phone so you don't activate the edge features. That's a pain in the ass. But still, that being said, I do believe it's more comfortable than using this phone on a day-to-day basis. All right. The other thing is the fingerprint sensor on the S7 Edge is faster than on the S6. Camera is fantastic on the S7 Edge. You're getting a display that's, I think, 2560 by 1440. Pixels per inch are over 500. On this bad boy, you're getting 1080p. Pixels are over 400 on this phone. They're both great displays, but this is just so much better. I mean, the colors are so rich, they just pop out. Everybody, describes the blacks. They analogize it to being, inky black, because of the nice sheen of the screen, and then the AMOLED display just shutting off the pixels. You have these beautiful, gorgeous colors. So if you're really into like the best displays and stuff like that, you got it. You got it with this. If you're into ergonomics and you want comfort with a large phone, you got it with this. If you want a really good battery, it's going to get you through a whole day, you're going to get it. The S7 Edge will also have that. I think the battery life on these phones are about equal, and the 6 Plus is the best battery life I've ever experienced on any phone when I got it. This is just as good, and this does a lot more. I mean, you have multi-window mode. Google Now on tap is kind of cool. Using the voice commands are great. I think Siri is awesome too, but it's really, really great and very fast. And it just has this, beautiful design that I can't get over it. And you got these beautiful edge features that I think are just worth showing you. You can customize these as well. You can add 5 people over here. You can add a few different people a few different apps over here, and then some tasks and stuff. And then there's weather, music, and a few other things that you could turn on if you want. You also have a heart rate sensor, so you can check your heart rate after exercise or a stressful day at work, which is pretty cool. Fun little novelty thing, but I do like it. It also measures your SpO2. So if you know anybody who's maybe a little bit older in your family that has some breathing issues and you were just curious to explore that, that's something you can check out. But as a phone, I really enjoy this phone. I am going to stick with it for a while longer because I just can't get over how comfortable it is and how gorgeous it looks, even with the slower web browsing. I mean, you lose iMessage, you lose FaceTime, and you do lose a little speed with web browsing, in my opinion. But other than that, I think this phone is a slam dunk in terms of Android, and I really think that the next iteration of it, the S8, they're going to really hone in some of these inadequacies. And I would love to see a feature where they disable the capacitive keys here and put two on the screen instead and just keep this one button, or just get rid of them and just keep this one button. I think that'd be a great evolution of hardware. You know, they can maybe make these even a little bit thinner here, but the edge screen is just perfect. It doesn't need to change. The glass doesn't need to change. I absolutely love it. Make it more durable if you can, but I think they nailed it. So I hope this helps you guys out a little bit. You know, again, you know, you're going from iOS to Android, so it's going to be a transition. You're going to have to learn a lot of new shit the first couple of days you're using it. It's a little more confusing, but once you get the hang of it, they've done a really good job at making it simpler, and there are a lot of new features that you'll explore and determine that you really like, and you'll see that the innovation, in my opinion, when it comes to design, hands down is on the Android side of things. I mean, they really are creating some amazing hardware and they experiment with software in really cool ways, but you're still getting a more refined, efficient product with Apple. And both can be very efficient, but this phone is quicker at the basic things. You know, I still got to give it that. I believe in most cases it's a little bit quicker. The app speed, from what I've experienced, I'm not going to do a test on that. They open about the same, the app speed. This isn't that much faster, even though it has all those specs I mentioned to you before, especially that RAM. But they are about the same. Big thing, though, where there's a large difference is with the web browsing. So if you don't mind that the web browsing is a little bit slower, you're good. Enjoy. I hope this helps you make a decision. I hope that you pick a phone that you can stick with for a long time. You don't make the same mistake that I did, where I ended up going down a little bit of a rabbit hole. I finally think I'm seeing the light now, though. I wish you guys happy hunting on your phone search, and I hope you found what you're looking for, and I hope that this helped. See you later. If you have any questions, post them in the comments.